Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Got another fragrance review for you, and this is one I've been eyeballing for quite some time on Amazon. Link is in the description as always. This one here is called the one and only Moonlit Night, and this is a clone of Dolce & Gabbana, the one Luminous Night. Now, when we go to Fragrantica, I think anybody in the frag community knows that that's kind of like our go-to site to kind of get an idea of what these fragrances might smell like, and to kind of point us maybe sometimes in a direction where we're just not really sure. Now, the price on this used to be $39.99, and for me, you know, just like watches, I tend to have a certain budget on what I want to spend for fragrances. Let's face it, I hear it all the time with people on Fragrantica and on this channel, synthetic, synthetic, synthetic. It's just like they throw that word synthetic around nonstop, and I think a lot of times they use that word when they have a fragrance that just isn't very strong. They say it's synthetic because it doesn't smell authentic or like the real notes. It's kind of like saying, oh, you can smell the difference between fresh cut garlic and well, like garlic powder, right? That's kind of not a good description, but anyway, it's kind of like that's kind of the way I compare it. Naturally, like the garlic powder has been, you know, dehydrated, of course, and ground to a powder. And when you cook both, they smell like garlic, right? Now, that may be kind of a loose representation of what I'm trying to say, but I think a lot of times people say synthetic, they really just mean that they're smelling more of the alcohol. They're getting more of the alcohol vibe when a fragrance is not really maybe of the highest quality, but weaker, right? They may not be an eau de parfum concentration. They may be an EDT, and let's face it, some EDTs are extremely weak, and we've seen it before too with EDPs. Some EDPs have horrible longevity as well, so I really kind of take that with a grain of salt. I personally think it's a term that gets thrown around quite a bit when really it's pretty much meaningless, right? If you get a fragrance that smells good and you like the way it smells, at the end of the day, it really just comes down to, does it have staying power or does it not? Right? Does it change much, or is it linear, which means it remains kind of the same from the moment you spray it on all the way through the end of its life on your skin or clothing? You know, I don't get too involved in all that nonsense, right? What I'm looking for is, does it smell good? Is the price right? If the price is right and I like the smell, I can very easily go very heavy on the trigger and just reapply it if I have to, right? And let's face it, I don't really care who you are. Everybody becomes nose blind. When you put on a fragrance and you're wearing it, it could be super strong and then you won't even notice it. It doesn't mean it's still not projecting. It doesn't mean other people still can't smell it on you. So just kind of keep that in mind. Lots of wannabe fragrance experts out there. So again, ultimately, buy what you like, buy what makes you happy, and buy for the right price. I think it's absurd for some folks who claim, oh man, you know, this $600 fragrance is just light years ahead of the $30 one. Not the case. It really comes down to the specific fragrance. So let's talk about the one and only, right? So we all know what this is. Again, a copy of, I don't know what this, if this is Urdu Arabic of some sort, but not really sure. But the Dolce & Gabbana, the one, Luminous Night has that. And they describe this fragrance on Fragrantica as an amber woody fragrance. I tend to agree with that. This is very ambery. The original Luminous Night was launched in 2021, and it's a very expensive fragrance. A lot of times that fragrance is well over $200. And for me, I just think there's too many other options out there where you can get clones that smell frankly just as good, in some cases even better. Now, so this fragrance, I've only smelled Luminous Night once, and I can assure you that this is awfully close, right? And the price is amazing. This was $39.99. It is now on special for $26. It's a no-brainer. Sometimes I do fragrance reviews like this, and I'm like, gosh, you know, sometimes I don't want to because I like it so much. I don't want the price to go up. But I want you guys to be able to get it. So this is by Fragrance World, by the way. For those who've been living under a rock in the fragrance community, Fragrance World is making some amazing designer imposter or clones of their expensive fragrances. I will state that most of the Fragrance World different fragrances I've smell fantastic, but the staying power is not insanely great, right? But it's still pretty good. I mean, I don't know what you want for $26, but here's the bottle. Just a great one for the collection. I love that blue bottle. Kind of reminds me of, I think, Blue Astral by, what, I'm drawing a blank, by Issey Miyake. I have several Issey Miyakes, absolutely love it. And I kind of get that, you know, anytime they put it in a blue bottle, I kind of get like that, I don't know what it is, if it's something like subconscious or mental, but I always feel like whenever they have these things that are like night related and blue, that they kind of have like kind of a similar vibe. Now, let me just first say also that when you go to Fragrantica, you really got to take this with a grain of salt. The Luminous Night, I'm just going to give you like the top 4. They consider it mainly ambery, an ambery scent, fresh, spicy, sweet, and warm spicy. And then you have all the other, you know, warm spicy, aromatic, woody. You know, I don't think, you know, they say smoky. I don't get an abundance of smoke or incense on this. I really don't. But I just get a very warm, sexy. I'm not going to use a stupid date night bullshit. Wear it whenever the fuck you want, you know. Wear it date night, if you have date night. Just wear the fucking, you're a man. Wear the fragrance, whatever the fuck you want to wear it, right? You don't need a special occasion. But some of you are whipped, so I can't help you. But anyway, all right, so here's where I kind of get annoyed. They can, some people, 142 say this smells like Initio's Side Effect, and 88 say it does not. To me, I have a great clone of Initio Side Effect. This is Aftermath Intro. I mean, an amazing scent, don't get me wrong, love it, but these two fragrances don't smell anything like one another. Anything like one another. Dolce & Gabbana, the one, to me, I don't think it's, I don't mean to say that it's better in any way, because better is very subjective. In all honesty, I don't really have like a #1 fragrance where I'm just like, oh, that's my go-to. I just don't have that. But Initio's Side Effects is classified as a warm, spicy, rum, vanilla, and tobacco type of fragrance. I get that vibe. And it's relatively a simple note breakdown. Rum, tobacco, cinnamon, saffron, sandalwood, and hedione. I think I'm saying that right. Luminous Night does not have those notes here. Let me just read you what it has. It's, to me, you know, okay, yeah, black pepper, basil, bergamot, dates, geranium, sage, amber, incense, and sandalwood. To me, there's nothing overlapping there that I say, okay, well, you know, because sometimes if you have a fragrance that has like a heavy abundance of like that amberish note, and then you have another one, then maybe they share like sandalwood, and maybe in both those fragrances, those are heavy concentrations of that note, then people will draw the conclusions. But these two, to me, don't smell anything like one another. Both fantastic fragrances, but completely different. And I'd say, yeah, these aren't even, and remember, I don't have the original Initio Side Effect, but this, I have smelled it, and this is, from what everybody says, this is like almost identical. This is very, very boozy, a lot more boozier than this fragrance. This is just, it's just totally different. So if you are, you know, if you already have Initio's Side Effect or, you know, Aftermath Intro here, you know, what I don't like about Fragrantica is, you know, some folks who kind of like believe everything they read on that, and, you know, that might prevent you from buying this. In all honesty, when I saw that it smelled like this, from what other people said, you know, it's not like you have 300 people and only a few saying it doesn't. This is a pretty good mix, 142 versus 88. So, and it is subjective. Everybody smells something a little different, but based on my nose, these things don't smell anything alike. I don't really get a lot of heavy incense on this, but I definitely get that Dolce & Gabbana vibe. This is a beautiful fragrance, right? And if you like Dolce & Gabbana the one, you're going to absolutely love this fragrance. I like this more than DG or the original. It's a fantastic fragrance. It smells exactly like the real deal. And for $26, you really can't friggin' lose on this. I mean, just gorgeous bottle. Only negative thing about some of these cheaper fragrances, and this could happen with any fragrance, this one was leaking really bad when I got it. And I think what was happening here, there's kind of a gold cap. If you have this problem, by all means, you know, this is probably an easy fix for you if it's the same thing. I popped the gold sleeve off the top there, and I think what was happening was that hole in the gold sleeve wasn't lined up with the atomizer correctly. And so when it sprayed, it would spray a lot of juice down, and it was leaking all down the side. So I popped that off, and it seems to be okay now. I think I was still getting some residual leakage. Nobody wants that. So this looks to be okay now. But again, man, this is a gorgeous scent. I mean, you know, when I review fragrances, I can't really review them the same way like Red Essence does or Cubano. I'm not going to paint a story for you that I don't really buy. You know, and I'm not talking shit about these guys. I love those guys. But a lot of fragrance reviewers, they're going to give you, they're telling you a story, right? And I just can't bring myself to doing that. I know that it would probably make these fragrance reviews better and people would like them more, but I got to be real to myself and be real with you. Some folks, I'll give you an example. Some folks like First, you're going to start with a big blast of black pepper, and that basil starting to play into the top notes a little bit. You see that bergamot kind of peeking through, and then you start to have this fragrance develop. And then, of course, you're going to see that, feel that, smell that really heavy date note. And this fragrance is heavy on the dates. You're going to smell that date-like sweetness. It's absolutely stunning. Then the geranium starting to peek in, the sage, and of course those base notes that really have that amazing building block foundation for this fragrance. You're going to get that heavy, warm, creamy incense or amber, and that incense is really just kind of captivating you. And then that sandalwood, very masculine. You know, you're going to get this fucking whole big story, right? And in all honesty, I try to give you guys my best representation of what I get from a fragrance when I smell it. And to me, it's peppery. You definitely have that pepper note. You have the woodiness. It's definitely amber when I first smell this, so I have to kind of classify this as like, what do you think on this? I'd be like, ooh, that's definitely an amber scent. I don't get like, I think fragrances like you know, the One kind of like revolutionized fragrances a bit, even though like other fragrances around before them or before that fragrance, where pepper is, you know, it's a spicy fragrance. And I feel like that, you know, you have a lot of fragrances using black pepper nowadays. It's what I would consider your cold weather scent. Although I wear fragrances year round, I don't really know where that idea came up that that like, oh, freshies and fruity fragrances are better for warm weather. I don't really get that. I kind of think that if it's a very hot day, really any fragrance smells good as long as you don't overdo it. I think sometimes we can overdo fragrances on hot days because your body's sweating. I feel like that's kind of regenerating the fragrance and the notes that are on your skin. Just my train of thought. I don't know. But to me, I really get this. I get a little bit of incense. I kind of get that incense vibe when I compare it to fragrances like Issey Miyake, Luminous Night, or Moonlit Night. The hell is it? Luna Night, something like that. You guys know the one. But very similar, and I love that fragrance. So this is really, for me, I don't think that both those things are, you know, identical or clones of one another or anything like that, but I definitely get that kind of vibe. And it's nice because that other fragrance is kind of expensive, and this definitely kind of gets you in the ballpark of that fragrance. Definitely got that Dolce & Gabbana DNA. To me, it's not like a, you know, sometimes you get flankers of original fragrances like when I did the worst one I've ever reviewed, as far as like being different and kind of being a con, in my opinion, was Zaharoff. You know, when you go looking at the original Zaharoff Home, amazing fragrance, don't get me wrong, but when you start looking at their two flankers, the which one, like the wood one and the black one, I mean, I can't smell any difference between those two. And a flanker is only good for you to spend more money than the original if it brings something new to the table. Those three, I can't smell the difference between any of them. So to me, it's kind of a waste of money to buy. If you have one, there's no point buying the others. Whereas, and when I voiced that to them, they didn't really appreciate that, right? Whereas like this, I think if you like the original Dolce & Gabbana, this is a different, noticeably different flanker of the original, and I think it's better. I think it's fantastic. And Dolce & Gabbana, the One, has been really played out and worn. This is kind of nice because it's going to get you something that that's a great fragrance, but it's going to get you something like in that ballpark, but different at the same time, and worth spending your money on because it is going to be different than the original. So if you don't want to spend over $200 for that fragrance, definitely give this a go. Fantastic, beautiful, awesome fragrance, and I think you guys will love it. As far as smelling like Initio Side Effect or Aftermath Intro, dude, totally different. This is way more boozier, way more creamier. It's just a totally different fragrance. I don't know, you know, I don't want to insult anybody, but sometimes I wonder, like, dude, are these people even like, do these people really have these fragrances? Are they really smelling these fragrances? Because I see no difference. I see no comparison between these. They're totally different fragrances. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, I mean, you have 142 people saying it does. And when we compare like some of the other fragrances that they say side effect smells like, I'm just trying to see if I have anything else here. What is this one? Tobacco and Tonka by Banana Republic. I think I've smelled that one too. That doesn't smell anything like this. What else we got here? Killian, which one is this one? Killian Black Phantom? I don't think so. Replica Jazz Club. What's this one? Yeah, so a lot of these I haven't smelled or have, but yeah, just kind of, like I said, just kind of take it with a grain of salt. Give this a fragrance a go if you're looking for a blind buy cheapie, or even if you are familiar with the one. It's fantastic. As far as staying power, I can't give you the exact hours that I wear this, but I'd say you're going to get, you know, where you can still heavily smell it, 3 to 4 hours, and then just reapply it. It's cheap enough. It doesn't matter. Like, who cares? It's a no-brainer, and you're absolutely gonna love it. If you want it to last longer, spray your clothing. That's all I can tell you. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Let me know what you think, and take care.